Hi everybody, welcome to the Drummer's Almanac Drum Lesson Vault. My name is Jeff Fenichel. Today I'd like to break down another drum set groove. Again, students sometimes reach out to me and say, hey, I'm working on this particular beat and it's a popular beat and I'd love for you to break it down for us to show us how to do it. So one beat that's come up in question has been the Rosanna groove from the band Toto. That's Jeff Porcaro playing on that particular track. Very famous drum groove, and it's built around like the Purdy shuffle or the halftime shuffle. Now the shuffle comes from a pull-out feeling. So if you watch me play the groove in the clip in the beginning, you'll notice that I'm pulling out or snapping that right hand. Now if you're left-handed, it's the same thing. It doesn't make a difference. So the idea first to break down the groove is to understand a pull-out. Now a pull-out is going to be your feeling of coming up and then down. Now, I'm using the informal style. You could also do this in the formal style where the upstroke is more of a snap this way and a down. That's also a pull out. But for practicality and for drum set, I like to use the molar or the informal style to feel this because it's a little bit more round and easier to execute fast. And I'd argue that even formal playing, like if you're doing the military thing, as you get to a certain speed, you're going to have to bring that down to the informal and just condense it. It's the only way to really get the shuffle really smooth and fast. So again, let's break it down. First thing we have is an upstroke, which starts in the low position. And then I'm just going to release from the wrist. Now as I come up, if you notice I hit that drum very slight. Next thing I'm going to do as I come up, since I'm in this position, I'm going to bring it back down using a molar stroke or a whip stroke. So upstroke into a molar downstroke. And I'm going to do that at the same time, pretty much up, down, up, down. And I want you just to practice that, up, down, up, down. The next step, after you've found this, and you can keep it very loose, because this has got to be, completely loose, to the point where it's just flopping. All right, you hear, and you just release it to the point where it's just completely being held. One of my teachers used to say, it's like tying a string to your wrist, and then as you bring it up, your wrist just falls, and the string is holding your wrist up. So it's this imaginary string, and it's holding up your wrist. That's how you get your up and your down. There can be zero tension. You can't squeeze that stick. If you squeeze the stick, you won't get that sound anymore. That feeling will just go away. So it's got to be very loose. The next step that I want you to try to get is the grace note, the tap stroke that comes in your left hand. Now, I don't care if you play match grip or traditional. You're just going to start here and let that stick drop. Notice I'm not pulling back. I'm just dropping it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the downstroke, and we're going to play this as a pull-out triplet. So we're going to do downstroke with the right hand, tap stroke, upstroke with the right hand. And then we're going to repeat that. So you're going to end up doing two rights in a row. Right, left, right, right, left, up, down, tap, up, down, tap. If you notice, you get the pull-out happening in the right hand, tap strokes happening in the left hand. So just on the pad, you want to practice this. And I notice you got a dual motion happening here. I'm getting two hits with my right hand with one motion because I'm really just doing this circular whip stroke, but feeling this downstroke. And I want you just to do this on the pad. Now notice I got a little faster. I don't want you to get faster until you feel like you have it. But once you have it, you can work on getting it faster. Now as you get it faster, that does not mean get tighter or louder. Keep everything the same. Condense the motion and try to move it faster. Notice I'm keeping my form very straight and that my hands are in this house shape. If you don't play that way, if you play inside the French grip, it really doesn't make a difference so long as you're nice and relaxed when you're doing it. That's really the key. So make sure you're doing this in a relaxed form. Good. Once you have that flow, that's where you want to start. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is adding the bass drum pattern to that, because now the coordination becomes a little bit of an issue. Now essentially the bass drum only lines up with one of two positions, and that's going to be on your pullout. So we're going to concentrate just on that right hand. And what I want you to practice is doing a pullout, up, down, and I'm going to add that left hand yet, up, down, and I want you to put a bass drum just with the downstroke. Doesn't even have to be in time, just like this, up, down. Up, down. If you notice, I'm sticking a bass drum in with that downstroke. Up, down. 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 That's actually pretty easy to feel once you have it. Up, down. Up, down. It's always easy to do an accent against a foot. The opposite feeling of that now is going to be put a bass drum with the upstroke like this. Up, down, up, down. Now that's a little trickier because if you notice, my foot's coming down, my hand is coming up. So you have this feeling. All right? So foot's going to come down, hand's going to come up like that. We have boom, boom. And we got to try to find that. So I'm going to do up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So as my knee comes down, my hand comes up, down, up, down. And again, you want to do this until it makes sense and doesn't flam, doesn't sound all out of whack. That's your next step. Okay, once we have that, we're going to go back now to our pattern, which is a down tap, up, down tap, up, down tap, up, down tap. Now over that pattern, I'm going to go ahead and show you where the bass drums go inside of the Rosanna beat. Now incidentally, if you look at videos or you've been to a clinic with Jeff Porcaro before, unfortunately we lost him, he talked about this groove being based off clave. A clave is an Afro-Cuban groove, and a 3/2 version is this. 1 E and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and a. So that's an Afro-Cuban rhythm that's very common in that style of music that he essentially borrowed the bass drum part after. So we're going to work on that a little bit just to get the feel of it. So let's just practice counting that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and break that down, just feeling that feeling. Good. Okay, next thing I want to do is come back to the hands with that. 1, 2, and notice I'm filling this in just to give you the rhythm, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. And what I want to do next is add a swing to it, because everything we're doing here is in triplets. And that clave is working over 16 notes, so it doesn't really work. So what we have to do is swing the notes. Instead of 1 E and a 2 E and a, we have to do this, and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a. Now if you keep that swing version of 16 notes, but you play the clave, you get this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Now let's try that on the bass drum, but I want you to keep that count so you feel the swing. 1, 2 on the bass. 1, 2, here we go. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Good. Okay, now the last little variation that he does with that bass drum is on the 2 side of the clave. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That side. 1, 2. He's actually going to anticipate the first note and bring it up a little bit. So we have this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. And that's going to come a little bit earlier. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So you get down, up, down, up, down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Once we have that, the hard part is going to be to put that bass drum pattern against our hand pattern. Now remember, we went back over when to hit the bass drum with a down versus when to hit it with an up. Same thing goes here, but now you're going to have ups and downs mixed together. So let's start down, up, down, up, down. That's our pattern. Very tough to do. If you count it, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 there is essentially the foundation or the framework of how to feel that groove against what you're doing. The next step, of course, is to add it to the drum set, splitting your right hand on the hi-hat, your left hand on the snare drum, and then adding the backbeat. The backbeat's going to go, since we're in a halftime shuffle, 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. Now you got to keep all that together and add that backbeat. 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 1, a 2, a 3, 4, a 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 1, a 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, a 3, 4, a 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, a 3, 4, a 1, a 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead and try that quietly on the snare drum. 1, a 2, a 3, 4, a 1, a 2, 3, a 4, 1, a 2, a 3, 4, a 1, a 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I know that's a little tricky to put all of that together and place it in the right spot. The only other thing that's really changing now is, if you notice, I'm taking that last bass drum, I'm leaving it out because that's where the snare drum's going to go. Now you could double them up, but Jeff doesn't do it when he does it in the groove. He kind of leaves that one out. The only other change that he does is all those tap strokes that he does. He leaves out the tap stroke that would come right after the backbeat. So he just leaves that one out. And that makes it a little easier to get around. It also creates a little bit of breathing room inside the groove, so it's not so busy sounding. So I hope that kind of clearly demonstrates how to break down this groove. I'm sure there's tons of videos out there that do the same thing, where it takes it apart and shows you how to put it together. But the way I understood it and the way I learned it really is first understanding your pull out, then understanding where your bass drum moves against that pull out, either with the downstroke or the upstroke, and then mixing those and putting those in the right spot. That helps you find the groove a little bit. So that's where I think you should start when it comes to practicing this particular beat. The rest of it will make a little bit more sense once you understand those two concepts. So that's going to wrap up this lesson. Thanks for checking out the Drummer's Almanac, and I'll see you guys on the next lesson.